It had been publicly known for some time that Mandelson knew Epstein, but none of us knew the depth and the darkness of that relationship. The victims of Epstein have lived with trauma that most of us can barely comprehend. I am sorry. Sorry for what was done to you. Sorry that so many people with power failed you. Sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies.
A vast archive exceeding 3 million pages of child sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein-related documents released by the U.S. Justice Department has shaken UK politics. After Prince Andrew, UK politician and former UK ambassador to the United States, until September 2025, Peter Mandelson is in the spotlight after his ties with the late pedophile were exposed in the latest documents. The newly released files exposed emails from Mandelson to Epstein passing crucial political information half a decade ago, which is against the law. Hence, British police on February 3rd opened a criminal investigation into the British politician over his ties with Epstein. 1. In 2003 to 2004, bank details hinted that Epstein sent 3 payments totaling $75,000 to accounts related to Mandelson and his partner, Rinaldo Avila da Silva. 2. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty to Florida state charges to avoid federal prosecution and served 18 months in jail. Yet messages indicate Mandelson remained in contact with him afterward. 3. In 2009, Mandelson, then the UK's business secretary, appears to have told Epstein he would press colleagues to cut a tax on bankers' bonuses. 4. That same year, Mandelson shared an internal report with Epstein on post-crisis revenue options, including asset sales, and wrote, "Interesting note that's gone to the PM." 5. In May 2010, Mandelson messaged Epstein that sources tell me €500 billion bailout was nearly finalized, hours before European governments announced the €500 billion deal. On February 3rd, London's Metropolitan Police have launched a full investigation into alleged misconduct by the 72-year-old former minister, saying the claims met the required threshold. The government told police the Mandelson-Epstein documents likely contained market-sensitive information about the 2008 financial crisis that should not have been shared outside government. The offense can carry a life sentence, though an investigation does not imply guilt or charges. Amid the fallout from his ties with Epstein, Mandelson announced his resignation from the House of Lords. The decision came as the British government readied rare legislation that could strip him of his Lord's title, which he otherwise would keep.
My Lords, given the public interest and for the convenience of the House, I've decided to inform the House that the Clerk of the Parliament has today received notification from Lord Mandelson of his intention to retire from the House, effective from 4th February. I will formally notify this to the House tomorrow in the usual way.
In an interview with the BBC on January 11, 2026, Mandelson claimed that while he was on Epstein's island with him, he never saw any young women around him and didn't know what this evil monster was doing in preying on these young women.
Well, it was a most terrible mistake on my part. I believe the story he told in 2008 in his first indictment in Florida. I accepted his story and I wish I hadn't. I have to say to you, and I can say this absolutely, I can say it to you categorically, I never saw anything in his life when I was with him, when I was in his homes, that would give me any reason to suspect what this evil monster was doing in preying on these young women. Do you really think that if I knew what was going on and what he was doing with, and to these vulnerable young women that I would have just sat back, ignored it, and moved on and said, okay, I believed his story and that of his lawyer, who spent a lot of time trying to persuade me of this, because I did go into it, that he had been falsely criminalized in his contact with these young women. Now, I wish I had not believed that story. I want to apologize to those women for a system that refused to hear their voices and did not give them the protection they were entitled to expect. That system gave him protection and not them. If I had known, if I was in any way complicit or culpable, of course I would apologize.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer issued a public apology to the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and said he was sorry for believing Peter Mandelson's account and appointing him as Britain's envoy to Washington. The apology comes as he faces growing pressure over Mandelson's appointment amid renewed scrutiny of Epstein-linked ties.
I still believe that most people who serve in public life, whether as civil servants or elected politicians, do so for the same reason, because they believe in service, because they believe in duty, because they believe in the public good. But that is not why some people do it. And that is not why Mandelson did it. And that sense of duty only matters if the standards of public life are upheld. And in recent days, serious allegations and serious evidence has emerged concerning Mandelson's conduct, including his relationship with Epstein, a convicted sex offender. It had been publicly known for some time that Mandelson knew Epstein, but none of us knew the depth and the darkness of that relationship. What has come to light has raised serious questions. Information that was not known at the time of his appointment. Before he was appointed ambassador, Mandelson was asked directly about the nature of his relationship with Epstein. He was asked whether he had stayed at Epstein after his conviction. And when, later, further information came to light, he was asked whether he had accepted gifts and hospitality, about whether he had been fully transparent about the relationship. The information now available makes clear that the answers he gave were lies. He portrayed Epstein as someone he barely knew. And when that became clear, and it was not true, I sacked him. Such deceit is incompatible with public service. Let me be clear, no one is above accountability. And no one, however well connected, however experienced, however senior, should hold public office if they cannot meet the basic test of honesty. I also want to address the publication of the information Mandelson provided during the appointment process. I understand the strength of public feeling. I share the anger that people feel when powerful individuals appear to escape scrutiny. And I want to be able to release those documents as quickly as possible. I wanted to release them yesterday, in fact, and to talk about them at Prime Minister's questions. But the police have advised that releasing certain information now could risk prejudicing a future investigation or legal process. And however frustrating from my personal point of view that is, and it is, I will not take any step, however politically tempting, however popular, that risks justice for victims. Because this is not and must never become a political game. The victims of Epstein have lived with trauma that most of us can barely comprehend. And they've had to relive it again and again. They have seen accountability delayed and too often denied. To them, I want to say this. I am sorry. Sorry for what was done to you. Sorry that so many people with power failed you. Sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him. And sorry that even now you're forced to watch this story unfold in public once again. But I also want to say this. In this country, we will not look away. We will not shrug our shoulders. And we will not allow the powerful to treat justice as optional. We will pursue the truth. We will uphold the integrity of public life. And we will do everything within our power and in the interests of justice to ensure accountability is delivered. That is what the public expects. That is what the victims deserve. And it is what I will do.